everyone, I'm Natalie Heltzel with The Hollywood Reporter, and I'm joined by Michael Shannon. Hello, welcome, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Natalie.
So you're in the new movie, The Shape of Water, from Guillermo del Toro. Let's just jump right in. For anyone who may not be familiar with the movie, can you give us just the elevator pitch of what it's about?
Yeah, it's about a cleaning lady who falls in love with a fish man.
That is accurate.
Yeah.
And I guess you've played a lot of the bad guy before. What was different about this one, and how did you identify?
Well, it's kind of a period piece. It takes place in, I believe it's the early '60s here in America. Kind of a post-Cold War, not even post-Cold War hysteria, and my character Strickland has captured this creature in the Amazon and brought him back to the top secret government laboratory to do experiments on him because we want to get a leg up on the Russians. We believe that this creature has secrets that will help us defeat the Russians. It's all very a lot of intrigue, I guess. But yeah, he actually just turns out to be a really sweet creature, and Liza falls in love with him. In terms of how this character is different from me, I don't know. Every character is different. It's all in the details, I guess. I mean, I've never played a character who liked candy before. That was a new thing.
Yeah, was that in the script? Was it that?
Yeah. The candy's a big part of it.
Yeah, I guess he does reference it.
Yeah, I like. I don't know. For me, I think I like Strickland's sense of humor. I actually think he's pretty funny, even though he's kind of uptight and demented. But he's got a weird sense of humor. So do I.
So I guess you kind of identify with them in that way.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to personally identify with a character in order to play that character?
Well, that's an interesting question. It calls into question the nature of identifying with something. I mean, it's a constant struggle, right? Even identifying yourself, let alone anybody else, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
So, I'm always on the hunt.
Yes.
Yes.
So you have a couple of scenes that are a little bit harsh, maybe even mean a little, particularly between you and, there's a scene with you and Sally Hawkins where your character has to be a little bit mean or intimidating to her.
Mm-hmm.
Not to give any spoilers away, but and then your character's a little brutal with the creature.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like in
Well,
between?
he bit my fingers off.
Yeah, he started it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how. I don't know how I would feel if somebody did that to me.
Yeah.
Or a creature did that to me.
Fair enough. The first time he bit your fingers off,
Yeah.
but after that it goes a little bit far. But I was just
You're
curious.
so judgmental.
I'm just the audience. That's what Guillermo was feeding me to feel, and
right.
you did your job though. So there's that.
Thank you.
But I was curious, what was it like in between takes with you, and whenever you were just yourself and Sally was Sally, and Doug Jones.
Everybody's real nice to each other, really friendly and supportive. Sally, usually after I did a take with Sally, she'd be like, "Oh, you were so good, and I was so rubbish." And I'd be like, "No, Sally, you weren't rubbish. You were great." She's like, "No, you were amazing, and I was rubbish." And I'm like, "No, it was great. It's all great. We got it." Doug was just kind of silently suffering. Being in that costume, it's very hard, arduous thing to do.
Yeah.
But not because of me. I don't think I ever hurt Doug. It's all just make believe.
Yeah, hopefully not. Did he have because I know it was a practical costume, but his face obviously was some VFX. Did he have something covering his face? Were you
He had
connecting?
the face.
Like, were you connecting with him as an actor?
No, I mean, he had the fate. He disappeared. He was that thing. He had the whole 9 yards from top to bottom.
Gotcha.
They added very little with the computer. It was mostly 99% there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. It looks really great.
Yeah.
What about working with Guillermo del Toro? You've never worked with him before, if I'm correct.
No, I never have. I wanted to. I love his movies.
How is he as a director?
He's fantastic. He's a very sweet man. I mean, he has a beautiful heart. I think you see his heart in the movie, which is one of the signs of a great director, is that they can communicate who they are to the work that they do. It's not as easy as it sounds. Yeah, but he's very serious. He's very prepared. He works very, very hard, and he expects everyone else to do the same. But there's nothing like making him happy. When you're on set and you're getting a scene done the way he wants. It's very thrilling. And he has so much enthusiasm and passion for what he does. It's infectious.
Does he give a lot of direction? Or because I'm just curious, when you get a role, how you sort of, maybe I'll back up to where you dive in to a character. When you get a script and you start to really develop this character, maybe the way that they talk or mannerisms or things like that, how much of that do you do on your own beforehand? And then specifically with this movie, how much did you and Guillermo sort of collaborate on this character?
Well, for me, a lot of it's just about reading the script. Everything you need is there if you read it closely enough, pay enough attention to it, and if it's good writing. Guillermo loves to rehearse. He loves to meet with the actors and talk about their backstories. He even comes up with a history for you that he writes himself. He gives it to you and he says, "This is what I was thinking. You can use it, you cannot use it, but this is what I was thinking when I was thinking about the part." And I thought that was really, really special, actually. I'd never had a director do that before. So, yeah, for him, it's very important to be prepared so that you don't waste time when you're there shooting.
Yeah, I wonder if he does that with all of his films and all of his actors. I've never heard of that either, really. I've heard of actors doing it, writing up backstories and stuff, but
I'm not really sure, but I think this movie was very, very important to him. I think he put a lot into it. I mean, I'm sure he puts a lot in all his movies, but the way he always talked about it from the first time we met, I could tell that it was something he wanted to make for a long time, and something that really meant a lot to him.
yeah, I think I was listening to I think it was a podcast that he was on or an article that I read, and he was saying that he had been making movies for a long time where he was sort of making it from the point where he was maybe what he would like as a child, and this one felt more adult for him, and he really was excited to actually see this, because I think he was also working on it since maybe 2011, I want to say, so it's a long time to kind of sit with something. But
yeah, well, it's usually, if you want to make something worthwhile, it requires a long time. I mean, the same thing with like when I worked with Tom Ford. He spends a long time developing his movies, his scripts, thinking about them. I mean, it's not something to rush into.
Yeah, I think there was a 10-year gap between A Single Man and Nocturnal Animals.
I think so.
Right? Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he was working on Nocturnal Animals the whole time, but still, yeah,
right.
10 years in between is pretty substantial amount of time.
Yeah.
So you have a theater background. You're very involved. Are you a founding member of the Red Orchid in Chicago?
Yeah, Red Orchid. I've been there. Oh yeah, since it's our 25th anniversary, so I've been there since the beginning.
Theater sort of for an actor, I guess, sort of has this instant gratification in a sense of having an audience there and present and reacting to you. What do you get out of, I guess, when you're filming a movie? You don't really have that. Are you thinking about the audience at all when you're in it? Are you just happy to be performing with actors and a director in this, sort of contained atmosphere?
Well, that's hard to say. I mean, I guess it's different on every project. The fascinating thing about this is that Guillermo, between setups for different shots, he would edit on his monitor. He would start editing scenes, so you could literally see. A lot of times what can be frustrating is when you walk away from the shoot, there's just such a long time before you get to see what you actually did or what it's going to be, And with Guillermo, you got the sense right away, like.
Did he show that to you? The
Yeah,
things he was cutting together?
anybody was welcome to stand next to him while he was doing it. He didn't make me go away. I don't think a lot of people watched him do it. A lot of people don't like to see the monitor so much, but I don't mind because I just like to see how his mind is working.
Is acting still just as fulfilling, you think, on a film set without an audience as it is in theater?
It can be. It's very different. It's like if you're at work on a film set, you'll have one or two scenes, maybe 3 scenes that day that you're trying to get exactly right. So it's very stressful because I'm kind of a perfectionist, and it's hard when something's over and you're pretty sure you're not going to shoot anymore on it, to just walk away and be at peace. Think, well, that was good enough, I guess. It's just hard. It's a hard thing for me to do, but I sure like seeing the end result and knowing that it's with theater it just disappears. I mean, it lives on, I guess, in people's memory of it, but it's
a different experience. Yeah. Do you watch your own movies? Do you watch a lot of movies in general?
I don't get to watch a lot of movies, but I usually I'm always interested to see something I worked on. I usually go to the premiere, see. I'm just interested to see everyone else's contribution to the thing, see how it turned out as a whole.
Yeah. What's been a movie from the last year that you really liked?
Hold on. From last year, I really liked The Florida Project.
I saw that too. Yeah.
I was very impressed with that movie.
Yeah. Did you see Tangerine?
I didn't. And I'm kind of a anti-iPhone guy, so I wasn't clamoring to see a movie that apparently had been made on an iPhone, and that prejudice may have led me not to see Tangerine.
Yeah, it's fun. I think the podcast I was listening to, you were mentioning about your flip phone, but the guy made the movie with an iPhone.
I know. Well, now I'll go back and look at it.
Yeah.
Did he make Florida Project with an iPhone?
I don't think so. Just Tangerine. I believe just Tangerine. I could be wrong.
Right.
But if we can, I think we still have a few minutes left. I know you have Waco coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Can you maybe tease a little bit about that, if that's okay?
Well, it's a matter of public record, I believe.
Well,
David Koresh and the Branch Davidians, and their horrible ordeal they went through.
So I think you also said, I watched an interview where maybe a couple of times you said that you're kind of a fan of true crime.
Yeah.
Detective. So did this sort of fall in there with your...
Well, it's interesting. It was interesting for me because I got to play a gentleman that I don't think a lot of people knew about his contribution at the time. A fella named Gary Nessner. He was the head negotiator for the FBI, and he's still. I've met him. We've become friends. He's a very sweet man, and he really tried so hard to resolve that situation peacefully. And I just think it's a great project because there are some people that don't know anything about it. It's been long enough ago. Did I say that right? No. It's been long ago enough. There you go.
I didn't catch it, but yeah, that's right.
That there's some people that don't know anything about it, and even the people that do remember it, I think there's a lot of details that got swept under the rug, so
Yeah. I'm really curious to see it too. I'm a true crime fanatic myself, and I do not know enough about that one, so I'm definitely going to tune into that.
Cool.
And you did mention earlier about your theater company celebrating 25 years, and I believe you're directing. Is it you're directing a play?
I am. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing in December.
Okay.
It's a play called Traitor. It's a modern adaptation of an older play called Enemy of the People by Henrik Ibsen. And I'll
When
be
does that
directing
run?
that.
In January?
That opens in January and most of February. It'll be there.
You're a busy guy.
I know.
So you got the play, you've got Waco, you've got The Shape of Water. I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for chatting. December 8th, go see The Shape of Water and all of the other various projects that Michael Shannon's working on. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.